Hasselblad has knocked it out of the park with this 20-35 f 3.5 to 4.5 E lens. It's a step up from the normal V series lenses. Let's talk about it right now. Before we kick things off, big thanks to Kless Distribution for loaning me the camera and the lens. I have 48 hours with this, so I don't have a lot of images. 48 hours, and I try to do my best, but I capture something very, very cool, which I'm excited to share with you guys. With that said, my thoughts and my thoughts only, but this video is sponsored by BetterHelp, and more about them in just a bit. Yeah, I reached out to Hasselblad to try this lens in the 90mm, the 25, and the 28, and I guess I'm not on their Christmas card list this past year. Don't know what happened, but if somebody knows somebody from Hasselblad, I would love to get in touch with them to try out more of their lenses, because I know a lot of you have been asking me for more videos on the X series cameras and lenses, but I just don't have the access, guys. So here in Singapore, we're quite limited. But big thanks to Kless Distribution nonetheless for getting me a loaner set out for this review. Okay, look, I'm a huge fan of the X2D. I even got the t-shirt on right now. It's one of my favorite cameras. I have a very personal connection to that camera, which I'll talk about later on in this video. And I'm always excited to see what Hasselblad's coming out with new lenses for the system, because ever since the 38 and the 55, they have just been on a roll. Small, compact, fantastic optics, great design. It really makes a medium format system very versatile. And while I love the GFX 100 system, the lenses are very big. Whereas Hasselblad, the lenses are compact and small, very well corrected, and I'm a huge, huge fan of them. So when this 20-35 came out, I was quite interested. Now, I'm not a big wide angle shooter myself. I'm kind of in that 35 to 90mm range. That's sort of my sweet spot, but I can appreciate these lenses when used correctly or when the time comes, right? So when this was announced, I talked to Kless. I said, can I get this for review? They gave me one of their demo units. They said, we only can give you the weekend because we have other people that want to try this out. Fine, did it. And from the first images I took with this lens, I was like, I get why people are so in love with this thing, especially if you like wide angle photography and you need a wide angle zoom lens. It is, I mean, obviously you're getting 100 megapixels. The resolution of these lenses is fantastic. It's a step above the V series, even though those lenses are so good. This is beyond that. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. The design of the lens is second to none. It feels solid. It's beautifully made. There's no manual focus switch on this, which some people may like or dislike. I'm fine without it because obviously with the zoom lens and a lens of this nature, you're probably not going to use manual focus anyway. So, but man, the image quality. And with that Hasselblad color, science that they have, which that natural color solutions, as they call it, whew. I'm looking at images like, wow, okay, all right. So what I did over this past weekend is I actually took it around to, we call it Marina Barrage here in Singapore, which is sort of this outdoor area by Gardens by the Bay. So it's this beautiful sort of park, but it's like multi-layer with it's very rounded. There's no angles to it. It's kind of different. We have some unique architecture here in Singapore. So I thought this would be a really good place to try the lens. And also we have this sort of walkway where people cycle and they can ride their bikes and whatever the case may be. So I thought it'd be kind of cool near the ocean and the barges. And you'll see the images here so you know what I'm talking about. And I captured a number of images sort of just to test out the lens. And one in particular with a father and a son flying a kite, which I thought was just so simple, but at the same time, it's so memorable, and I was just at the right place at the right time. And the lens gave me the range that I needed. Now, predominantly with this lens, I was shooting more at 35 because that's just more where I'm comfortable with. 20 is nice, but it's a little bit too wide for me personally, because if you equate this to a full frame, it's 16 to 27 millimeters. So again, if you're into that focal range, you're going to love this. But I was pushing it all the way to 35 most of the time. But the second day was really interesting. And we went to the Singapore Turf Club, which is a horse track here in Singapore, which they're going to be closing down on October 5th. Actually, by the time you see this video, it might be closed down or about to close down. And we were very kind enough to get exclusive access to go onto the track and capture the horses at the starting gate and also the starting crew, because obviously that was the second to last weekend of doing this. And it was very memorable for them. And to have the X2D with me and to have this lens, I thought this would be a great opportunity. So I captured some images there, and also the horses out of the starting gate. Now, I was a little bit concerned because obviously medium format is not meant for fast action. Hasselblad has done great updates on the X2D, for that matter, to get the autofocusing much better, and it worked relatively well, especially for a lens like this. This lens is not designed for what I was shooting, But nonetheless, I was kind of stress testing it to see how it would perform in a variety of conditions. And I was very happy with the images I got. As a matter of fact, as the horses were coming by very close, because you're so wide, you can get some really good images out of that sort of capture the background and the foreground, but at the same time, with the horses and the jockeys running by, but especially when they're out of the starting gate, you've got the sky with the dramatic clouds that were there because it's kind of an overcast that day, because it went from sunny to overcast very quickly as our weather does here. And it was really cool to have this wide angle lens to do that. But again, it's the image quality paired with the color science. Yeah. That's why Hasselblad's Hasselblad, guys. That's why they are who they are. Now, in terms of pixel peeping, obviously in the corners, when you're wide open at 3.5 or 4.5 respectively, it's going to be a little bit softer in the corners, as most wide angle zoom lenses are, especially this wide. So I'm not really concerned about that much. Now, obviously, if you want to stop down, things get sharper as you go down the aperture range. But, you know, I was kind of in a situation where I wanted some depth. And obviously I did stop down a little bit on some images there as well. But I mean, I was very happy. The subjects that I wanted to be sharp were sharp. Did I miss focus sometimes? Sure. The horses are running very quickly. This is not a sports camera, right? So a couple shots were out of it, but I did get some of the main shots I wanted in focus. But with that said, I want to talk a little bit about my experience, my personal experience with the X2D system. As you saw from my previous videos last year, I had the camera for a number of months, big thanks to Hasselblad for loaning that to me. And I had to postpone a lot of those reviews because my mother passed away last year. And, you know, when I went to her funeral, I brought one camera with me, and it was the X2D. And the reason I brought it is because I wanted to capture these images that will probably mean more to me than anything else. And I wanted a medium format, and I wanted to capture my family. And that's really what I did. So I got a family shot. We were at this restaurant after the funeral, and we haven't seen each other in over 20 years. And I was able to capture that image with the X2D. It's not a wow photo. It's not going to win any awards, but it was something that means something to me. And if I want to blow it up, I've got beautiful 16-bit colors, 100 megapixel resolution, and it means something to me. With that said, I want to talk about our sponsor today, BetterHelp. You know, since last year and this year, you know, it's been challenging. Some great times. I've had some phenomenal experiences, but I've also had some challenging times dealing with the loss of my mom, and now not having any parents around. It's sort of a different feeling altogether. Then at the same time, also just work life and my career as a freelancer and as an artist, because I don't just do this, but I'm also a host and entertainer and actor. And, you know, our jobs, it fluctuates all the time. And I've never talked to a therapist before. But I've been seeing what BetterHelp does. And so I reached out to them and we said, let's try this out. And I finally talked to a therapist for the first time in my life. And it's helped me out a lot. It's helped me kind of just get things out, to talk to somebody who's not a family member, not a friend, someone that doesn't have any opinion of me whatsoever. And I can voice it out to them on a video chat. I can call them up if I want to. I can do it over text. It's just, there's a variety of different ways you can do this. And these therapists are worldwide. So it doesn't matter if you're in America or in Singapore, like where I'm at, or any other country out there. BetterHelp is there to give you that assistance you need to talk to somebody, to help you out if you need it. And there's a variety of different questions that you answer when you sign up for it to make sure that they find you the right therapist. And if you don't like the therapist that you met, you can always change therapists. There's no problem with that. The one I met, she's fantastic. We've been chatting. She's based in Scotland, by the way, and really, really cool. It's really helped me out a lot. And for you guys out there who maybe are going through some challenging times, financial, personal, whatever it may be, check them out. BetterHelp they're the real deal, and they've helped me. So if you want, you can click on the link below in my description, or you can see the link here and just type it out into your URL, and hope that it helps you out like it's helped me out. There's not a lot to say about this lens, to be frank with you. Minimal chromatic aberration, very sharp when it's in focus, beautiful color rendition. The fall off is beautiful on this, especially if you want to capture people or subjects. Again, you're not going to get a crazy depth of field, but for medium format, you don't want that kind of super shallow depth of field. You want to see the depth, but the texture behind you, because it sort of gives you this three-dimensional pop to your image, which medium format does so well. 16-bit color, 14-bit color, the way the lenses are designed, it is different. There's something about medium format that just speaks to you. And with a lens like this, man, I was very, very impressed. Again, I wish I had more time with the lens and the camera to share more insights, but just on this alone, I knew what I wanted to know out of this lens, that if you're into this type of photography, you're going to love it. Now, it does come at a premium price point. This is their E level of lenses, so they're considering it to be a step above the V series. And it's around 5,000 plus USD. It's an investment. But again, if you're that type of photographer that needs this lens and you're into the X series format, then this is something to heavily consider. You're going to be very, very happy with it. So are there any cons of this lens? Not really. Performance-wise, it's fantastic. It's exactly what I was hoping Hasselblad would do, and they have done. I would say the only thing, and Chris Nichols mentioned this in his review on Petapixel, is that the hood on the front doesn't feel as secure as you would hope that would come out of a lens at this price point. I feel like it could be a little bit better. But outside of that, I mean, I didn't take off the lens hood, mind you. I just kept it on the entire time because it's very small, compact anyway. But if you do want to remove it, that's something to take note of. It just takes a little bit of finagling to kind of get it back on. I haven't tried their other lenses, the 90, the 25, the 28 respectively, as I mentioned earlier in this video. Reached out to Hasselblad, but I'm not on the Christmas card list. I don't know. If you know somebody from Hasselblad, can you reach out to them? I would love to review their products again. We were chatting last year and I thought a lot of great things were happening, and then all of a sudden it just kind of went quiet, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's the nature of this business. Those are my thoughts on the lens. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend it if you're in this type of photography and you have the budget to afford it. I think you're going to really enjoy what Hasselblad has to offer. And like the previous zoom lenses they had and the XCD lineup, every focal length feels like a prime. And that's something that I can honestly say, every focal length on this zoom lens feels like a prime, and it performs that way. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. More content on the way. Thanks again for the support, and I'll chat to you all very, very soon. Take care.